Hello, today we're going to start Chapter 12. Chapter 12 focuses on the cell cycle. So we're going to be looking at mitosis in Chapter 12 primarily. So let me get to our PowerPoint. And here we are, Chapter 12, the cell cycle. And I start with a cartoon from Gary Larson. Gary Larson is an old cartoonist, but he wrote The Far Side and has a lot of really fun biology cartoons. So anyway, here's an Amway representative, and that's what I kind of like about this because Amway is founded in Grand Rapids, right? And so with me, Buzz, you'll have no problems recruiting other sales reps. Just keep dividing and selling. You get this kind of pyramid scheme going. That's kind of fun. Okay, we are not going to focus on amoeba cell division. We're going to take a look at introducing the topic. Then we'll look at, in detail, the cell cycle, and we'll draw out mitosis on the whiteboard, and then we'll look at cell cycle regulation. So the first question is, and we are in fact focusing on eukaryotic cells and how they divide, not prokaryotes. So the first question is, why do cells divide? Well, why do they need to divide? You can probably think of a few reasons. Let's see. Cells, and you might want to write these down, right? Cells need to divide because of growth, right? Organisms grow. They start out, you started out as a single cell, a single fertilized egg. And through development, your cells divided and divided and divided and divided into now a multicellular human or multicellular animal, right? So growth. 2, repair, to repair and replace damaged cells. Cells are getting damaged all the time, and they need to be repaired. And so cells divide to make more cells. They need to be replaced. Old cells simply die too. Cells get old, they age, they need to be replaced. Some cells need to be replaced every few days, like the cells lining our stomach, for example. And other cells maybe never get replaced, but there's everything in between, too. And then finally, reproduction. Our cells divide to reproduce, to make reproductive cells called gametes, right? Eggs and sperm. So for all of these reasons, our cells divide. And when we talk about cell division, we have to think about cell division as really being two parts. What's happening in the nucleus, the division of the genetic material, plus what's happening in the cytoplasm, the division of the cytoplasm. That's called cytokinesis. So when we think of a cell dividing, the nucleus and the cytoplasm has to divide. There's 2 types of nuclear divisions. You've probably heard of both of these, right? There's mitosis. And there's meiosis or meiosis. I'll say it both ways. What is mitosis and what is meiosis? Well, mitosis is when a cell is dividing to make a clone of itself, to make an exact genetic copy of itself. And so in mitosis, one cell is, with its genetic material in its nucleus, is going to give rise to 2 genetically identical daughter cells. We call them daughter cells typically, okay? One cell gives rise to 2 genetically identical daughter cells. You're making copies, you're making clones. Think of, when your stomach cells, when your cells lining your stomach need to make more of themselves, they go through mitosis and cytokinesis. Then there's meiosis. And mitosis, by the way, is what we're going to focus on in this chapter. Meiosis is when occurs during the formation of gametes, the formation of sex cells like eggs and sperm. And in meiosis, one cell with its genetic material, right, gives rise to 4 genetically different offspring or cells. These are genetically different, and they have half the genetic material as the original parent cell. I'm going to draw 4 sperm cells to remind us that we're making sperm or making eggs, okay? And these sperm and egg have half the genetic material of the original parent cell. So in humans, we have cells that are made up of 46 strands of genetic material. We call these strands chromatin. We also often talk about having chromosomes. Chromatin coils up to form chromosomes. So during cell division, our genetic material has to kind of coil up on itself so that it's easier to move around. So the chromatin coils up to chromosomes, and our cells typically have 46 chromosomes, 2 sets of 23, really, one set from mom and one set from dad. During meiosis, this is a nuclear division in which the chromosome number is cut in half. So if we started with 46 chromosomes in an adult cell, in a cell, the gametes that we make would have 23 chromosomes. Okay? And that makes sense when you think about it, because a sperm is going to meet up with an egg, and 23 plus 23 equals 46. Now you've got the full set of 46 chromosomes again. But we're going to focus on meiosis in chapter 13. So chapter 12 is all about mitosis. And when we think about chapter 12, when we think about cell division, sometimes we just think, oh, wow, a cell is always actively dividing. But it isn't the case at all. In fact, a cell is sitting most of its life not dividing, doing other things. And we talk about the cell as having a cell cycle. Well, I kind of think of it as a big circle. And we're going to draw this out as well. And most of the time, the cell is not actively dividing. For a little piece of this pie, maybe a little wedge of this pie, the cell might be in active cell division, the M phase, mitosis. But the rest of the time, the cell's doing other things. We call that interphase. And we'll take a look at that in our next video. Thanks so much. See if I can turn this off.